I was on a trip to Asia. I took a month-long tour, or did a month-long tour in Asia in the spring, late spring of 2006. And there are a lot of different things I could say about that trip, but I think one of the most profound things that I experienced on this trip was the power of corporate worship music to bring believers together, to unite believers who didn't even speak the same language, but could communicate with the language of worship. I went to several children's homes and orphanages while I was on this tour of Asia. We were in Singapore and Philippines and South Korea and China and also Australia and New Zealand. And in many of these places I had a chance to go into some children's homes and some and just the concerts themselves. But every time, even when we didn't speak the same language, if I were to begin singing some very well-known corporate worship songs, "Here I Am to Worship," or "I Could Sing of Your Love Forever," or "Open the Eyes of My Heart," and we'd sing these songs and everyone would begin singing. And all of a sudden it was like we really were a family, even if we couldn't communicate outside of that. And that was really powerful to me. It was so profound to have that experience. And I think it was then that I began to really think about, and how would I articulate this in a song? Could I say this in a song that might even be one that maybe someday I could come back to these places and sing this song with them and they would know this song? And as I began to think about that, and I had the idea even then about something about singing with one voice, this language of worship. And of course the first people that came to mind, who I know are my favorite writers of great worship songs, great corporate worship songs, was Matt Redman, Martin Smith, Delirious. I thought of these guys immediately as guys that I would love to go to and say, will you help me craft this song, because you know and understand so well how to write songs that the church really can sing together. And these are the songs that I see traveling across cultural lines and boundaries and borders all over the world. And so I did make a trip to London and to England, and I spent some time with Matt Redman and some time with Martin Smith, some time with Stuart Townend, a guy named Jonas Myron, who I wrote another song with, a song called Yours. But my time with Matt, we wrote a song called With One Voice together. As I explained this whole experience to him, and I said, I really want to write a song that celebrates this reality and this truth. One other experience that I think sort of captured this emotion or this sense of the one voice of worship was an opportunity that my sons and I had to play at the Global Day of Prayer in Hong Kong. On this same trip when we were in Asia, we went to the Global Day of Prayer in Hong Kong. There were about 60,000 Christians there gathered. Again, most of them spoke Cantonese or Mandarin. Some spoke English, but the prayers were all prayed in several languages. The times of worship were being sung in several languages, but there was something so powerful about this one voice of worship singing together. And so I communicated some of those stories and kind of relayed some of those stories to Matt Redman, and we sat together and we wrote this song together with one voice. And my hope and prayer is that someday I will get to return to Hong Kong and Philippines and Singapore and who knows where else in the world, and maybe sing this song with believers around the world.